Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's been 100 million years since I last chatted with you guys, and I'm so sorry. I wanted to first of all give you an update on how my Carnivore during Lent challenge ended. So I was keeping you posted throughout the first few weeks of that, and honestly, I guess maybe because of quarantine or maybe because Carnivore is kind of boring, I felt like I didn't have anything new to say, but when Lent ended on Easter Sunday, I weighed in and I was down 11 pounds, felt fantastic, and I have gone back to normal keto eating. So I am no longer doing carnivore, even though I really liked it. You guys, I love nuts and cashews and nut butters, and I know that I could consume those in excess, but I would like to consume them in moderation, and carnivore does not allow me to do that. So while my diet hasn't changed very much, I still mostly eat meat and eggs and cheese and fish. I like to add in nuts. So that is how my diet has changed. I've decided to continue fasting on Fridays. So this was something I did last year during Lent. I fasted on Fridays but did normal keto. This year during Lent, I fasted on Fridays and did carnivore. So I'm no longer doing carnivore. That part of the personal challenge has ended, but I am still fasting on Fridays, and I feel fantastic, you guys. I love it. I think it's kind of debated as to whether or not there are a lot of physical benefits, autophagy, blah, blah, in such a short amount of time. I mean, I'm fasting 35 to 40 hours once a week, but I love the way I feel. I feel super energized, and maybe because I'm a VSG patient, vertical sleeve gastrectomy, weight loss surgery that I had 3.5 years ago, maybe that makes it a little bit easier. But I find that if I am eating a good keto diet leading up to the fasting day is really not hard at all. I mean, mentally, yeah, I want to eat, especially if there are social activities going on, which there aren't a lot of these days, but mentally you think oh, it's dinner time, or oh, I want to take a lunch break. But physically, I don't really feel hungry, and that is so awesome. And then the next day, I eat very little and feel full again, and I try to carry that feeling over into the next week. In the VSG community, we talk a lot about pouch resets and trying to feel that restriction again. And I can very much say 3.5 years, almost 4 years out from VSG, I don't obviously feel the restriction I did feel at the beginning. In fact, I feel like I can eat normal sized meals some days. Of course, normal is subjective, but with the fasting on Fridays, it really kind of helps me get back in touch with my true hunger and separate out mentally if I'm just eating because it's time to eat or eating because I'm actually hungry. And that's something I've thought a lot about, because I don't ever want to be one of those people who just eats to live so that I won't starve. I enjoy eating. I love cooking. I'm a foodie at heart. You guys know that, I love interesting flavors and combinations and new ingredients and all that kind of thing. But I also know for a fact that the reason I was super morbidly obese 3.5, 4 years ago was because I ate in excess, not necessarily because I ate poorly. And I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole again. So I think if I tried real hard, I could fall down that rabbit hole, and I don't want to. So doing these kind of mental tricks to stay in touch with my true hunger has been really beneficial for me. Also, I lost 11 pounds, and in a pretty short amount of time. I mean, Lent is 47 days, right? So in less than 2 months, I lost 11 pounds and I felt really good. So since Lent has ended, since Easter happened about a month ago, first couple of weeks after that, I don't know, it's been a rocky month or so, you guys, just because of life stuff. This quarantine, I think socially and emotionally has been a little bit challenging, as I'm sure it has been for everyone out there. I know this isn't easy on anyone, and I'm well aware that I'm in a very privileged situation. My job has continued on as normal. I was working remotely before anyway, so my daily routine hasn't changed all that much. My husband's home all the time anyway, so our lives don't look that different. Also, we're in Mexico, where the pandemic doesn't seem to have hit as hard, so we're not really on 100% full lockdown the way I know a lot of places in the US are. So I get that, but just socially, it's been really difficult. I've on a personal level, you guys know that like I spend half the year in New Orleans, half the year in Mexico, but normally like 3 months there, 3 months here. And now we're going on like 5 months in Mexico. This is definitely the longest I've ever been here in my life. And it's fun and it's great because I'm with my family and I get to see them, and that's what I wanted to do. But it's not the way it normally is when I'm here. And that's been weird for me to like put together, that I'm here in Mexico, but still some days feel really isolated and feel really alone. And I know that's not because like I made a bad decision to like come here, but it's more because of this pandemic situation. And I don't know, it's just, it's been hard to process, and I've had some ups and downs, and some days are tough, and some days I feel like, how could I possibly be so close to family and surrounded by family and feel alone? That's dumb, you know? And then some days I just feel like so happy and grateful to be here and to be healthy, and that everyone I know is fine and good. You know, it's this roller coaster that I'm sure we've all been on. So that's where I've been. My eating at the beginning, after Lent ended, after Easter, was really on point. The last couple of weeks, well, this week that just ended has also been on point, but the previous two were a little rocky, you know, just overeating. Like I said before, my issue, I think, has never really been eating poorly as much as overeating. So reeling that back in. I also have really focused on exercise, which is just a good thing for me. I know it's not always beneficial to everybody. Sometimes exercising makes you feel more hungry, and it's harder to keep that kind of mental check. But before quarantine, I was going to CrossFit like 4, 5, 6 days a week, as you guys might recall. Obviously, my CrossFit gym is closed, so I started doing Couch to 5K. And I've done Couch to 5K before. I mean, heck, I did an Ironman half triathlon just 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago. So I can run. I don't like running. I've said this before. It gets easier if you train, but for me, it gets easier, but I never love it. And I'm okay with that. I've accepted that. But I had to do something. I had to get out of the house. I had to like move, you know. I think part of doing a keto diet is that you're full of energy. So I started doing the Couch to 5K. It's going okay. I'm in week 5 now. And whatever, I don't love it. I don't think I'll ever feel that like runner's high. Although I know the feeling, because that's how I feel when I bike and when I swim. I feel like I could just go forever. And I zone out, and I like totally like get in my mind and forget about my body, and the same kind of things that people describe when they describe they love running. That's how I feel when I bike, and especially when I swim. I never feel that way when I'm running, even if the running is easy. So I've been doing the Couch to 5K. It's fine, whatever. But as you might see behind me, I did buy myself a bike. Here in Mexico, labor is cheap, and they actually built this bike for me, custom to my specifications, in like a day and a half, and it was not very expensive at all, and I'm so happy to have it. It's beautiful here for cycling. The weather's been fantastic, mid-70s, low 80s, and I just feel so free when I can get on my bike and go. I also realized part of this like weird isolation lockdown thing has been not driving. So I don't drive in Mexico. I mean, I could, because a US driver's license is valid in Mexico. Well, I don't have a car here, obviously, but my cousins and family would be happy to lend me their cars. I just don't, usually, because we live in a historic downtown. Everything's kind of walkable, but I love to drive. When I'm home, I go for long drives all the time. When I lived alone in New Jersey, I would just like drive through the woods of New Jersey for hours on end. And I realized part of it too was that like freedom on the road, I wasn't feeling that. And I'm not about to buy a car, so I bought a bike. And I have absolutely addressed that like need for feeling of freedom. It's all in our heads, you know? I'm not like... But it's been so fantastic to be on the open road, to just like feel like you're flying, and to like pump your legs so hard and to feel powerful. Like I love cycling. And you know, when I was in New Jersey, I was cycling a lot, and I moved away from New Jersey in June of last year. So almost a year ago. Next month will be a year that I hadn't cycled at all. I mean, I'd gone to like spin classes, but like out on the road, and this has just been so great. So in order to not abandon running, I have decided that I will only cycle if I run. So like my reward for running is cycling. And so I've been doing both of those a lot in the last few weeks, and I've just felt so good, to the point where I've kind of been toying with the idea of doing another triathlon, you guys. I think it's mostly born from a a lack of swimming because I'm cycling and running and I miss swimming. I wish I could go swimming. I think that's what's missing in my life. And I don't even know, like when I go back to New Orleans, I don't know if the pools are going to be open at the gyms. I have no idea. I haven't even looked into that. But I miss swimming and kind of find myself browsing the Ironman website from time to time, seeing what's scheduled for next year, 2021. Obviously, there's no time to train to properly train for an Ironman in 2020, but also someone reminded me that like I don't have to do a half Ironman or a full Ironman. There are shorter triathlons that are out there that would be easier to train for, or that would take less time to train for, and I shouldn't forget about that either. Anyway, these are just kind of ideas floating in my head. Like I said, I'm very full of energy and I feel really good, so I've been running and biking and I really want to swim, and I mean, then I'm basically training for a triathlon, right? So yeah, that's where I am. How are you? How have you been doing? I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. I don't know how long we're going to be in Mexico. Like I said, we're normally 3 months in New Orleans, 3 months in Mexico. Our 3 months would have ended in like early April. It is now mid-May. Because we are U.S. citizens, we could go home anytime, although flights out of Puebla, where we are now, have all been canceled, so we'd have to like drive into Mexico City and fly from there, which is fine, no big deal. But, it seems like the situation in New Orleans is unfortunately much worse than it is here. So I think if we're going to kind of wait it out, it's better to wait it out here. So we don't really know when we're going back. We have like an open voucher. We can schedule a flight back anytime. Might be another month or so. I don't know. But there's certainly worse things. There's certainly worse places to be stuck. Like I said, my family is here, so we're really not alone. I get to see them frequently. It's just been a mindset shift, as I'm sure it has been for all of you as well. So I hope you are all doing well. If you haven't seen it yet, I was on Aaron's channel this week, High Fat, High Fun. I will link it below. It was so fantastic to chat with him and be a part of that series. It's also a podcast. So this is the 4th podcast that I've been featured in. So I will link those below for you as well. And if you have any questions, please leave them below. I love chatting with you guys in the comments. And I know a lot of folks have a lot of free time right now. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but my work has been really busy. So I am not feeling that like boredom that some people are learning to deal with. I have fallen down TikTok rabbit hole a little bit, trying to back out of that slowly. That's where I am. All is well. I'm happy. Happy to be here with you. Thankful for your support, always. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle's below. And thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.